Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about not another high school show. So, this was an unaired failed pilot that came out in 2007. And most people have heard of this before. And you can watch it on YouTube. I haven't done this in a while, I talked about like failed unaired pilots. I was gonna finish it up like probably like a year or two ago, but just never did. I think it was 2 years ago, but I just never did. And I have like about one, maybe two more left. There's one I decided just to leave it out because it wasn't even really a pilot. It was just kind of like a presentation trailer, and it just kind of like didn't do it. But anyway, so this is like another. And, normally when it comes to spoofs, they're in the forms of movies, but not so much a television show. Maybe one can think of Reno 911 as like a spoof, but it's more like a parody of just like the genre of cops, not necessarily based on any real show. And so when it comes to spoofs, back in the day, like the 70s and the 80s, they were like huge, you know what I'm saying? Then they started to die out. But then there was one movie and one movie only that caused spoofs to come back. And that movie is Scream. I know, right? A teen slasher movie. A serious teen slasher movie, if you will. And it's kind of odd to think that Scream is the one who started this crave of spoof movies. But when you stop and think about it, Scream is kind of a spoof of the genre of slasher movies of the 80s. But Scream reinvented the slasher genre, which later reintroduced more teen slasher movies, more teen dramas, and a very special movie called Scary Movie. Scary Movie was phenomenal. It spoofed both Scream and I Know What You did last summer, as well as a couple of other few horror movies around that time. And so, because of Scary Movie's success, then not another teen movie came out, and that movie was amazing, making fun of all the past teen movies and stuff and all the tropes. But then the problem after that came with all these other spoof movies, and my God, they were terrible. I've watched a few, and I'm just kind of like, oh, like what the world? But it was the thing back then in the early 2000s and stuff because it was popular. After the Wayne brothers lost the rights to Scary Movie after the second one didn't do too well, then there started being tons of other scary movies. And then there was epic movie, superhero movie, date movie. And it was just terrible after terrible after terrible release. And I thought, wow, it stopped for the longest time. But then it started to slowly come back now. And I'm just kind of like, why? Why are you coming back now? Like, I think there's not another church movie. Oh my God, dude. Like, what the world? But Hollywood was still trying to do its hand at making spoofs in some way or another. There was even a TV movie spoof on slasher movies. But anyways, they decided to make this television show. And none other than the man who wrote Not Another Teen Movie wrote this movie. So you would think it would do well, right? No. I don't know what the world was going on with this man, but for whatever reason, Mike Bender just didn't produce no good television show. And he tried to recapture what he did with Not Another Teen Movie. It just wasn't working. And since then, he hasn't really made another television show. Well, he hasn't even made this one because it never got aired and stuff. And he's mostly been relegated to writing that of the MTV Music Awards and stuff. Not music awards, movie awards. That's it. Oh, I remember I used to watch those back in the day, but then I stopped. The one with Jimmy Fallon and Kristen Dunst, that was always my favorite. That was the first one I ever watched. That was just my favorite. But yeah, like you would think the dude who would made like 9 out of 10 movie would hit one out of the park. So what exactly happened that caused this to be such a flop? Well, it's just not that funny. See, the problem with all those other spoof movies that wasn't funny was that they would throw a bunch of stuff that of course is relevant in whatever movie they were spoofing and just try to make it as outlandish as possible. The jokes just didn't land with those movies in the same way here. The jokes just weren't doing it for like this television show. There were a couple of times I laughed, only a few, a real few. But other than that, that was about it. And the reason why I laughed is because the actor who was saying the lines was funny and what was written was also funny. But when it comes to the acting of this unaired pilot, it was kind of not where it needed to be. It wasn't entirely terrible. It was just so blah and everything. Especially coming from the two leads. I get it. They're sad. They're depressed. But, because of the situations in their lives. But you gotta be funny with your material. And they just wasn't funny. And it's so interesting because like there's some people here I recognize from other projects. And the rest of the cast, I just have no idea who the heck they even are. And it's like some of the things they spoof is Beverly Hills 90210, Dawson's Creek, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Laguna Beach. And the problem is like I don't even recognize some of these shows. See, the things they were spoofing were mostly early 2000, late 90s, like WB shows. And I really wasn't watching those at those times. I watched Buffy. That was it. I know what Dawson's Creek is, but I never watched it. I don't even know what year One Tree Hill came out, but most likely they probably spoofed that as well. And I've never even seen that. And so for me, it was kind of like hard to like, see what they were laughing about and spoofing because I'd never seen those shows. And if they took references from it, I don't see much. It's and it's just and the writing was just so bad. Like the one dude who died came back alive because they resurrected two people from the dead, and it's just kind of like how. Even if you spoof something, you still gotta make it make sense to a certain degree, and that just didn't happen. And it's a shame that this did not happen because it could have been really funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have been something really nice to laugh about, chuckle about, but it just sadly was not there. But it's interesting some of the people I recognize in this. Like you have Allison Brie from Community playing a version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer called Muffy. So she's on the loose looking for vampires and this one Teen Wolf boy who's literally from Teen Wolf, the Michael J. Fox movie and stuff. Jennifer Lawrence has like a cameo in this thing and nobody knew who she was back then. Jamie Priestley plays the lead actor's dead mom, who apparently, for whatever reason, he thought she was dead, but it turns out, like in the next episode, she was supposed to be alive. It was kind of like a preview of the next episode and stuff. Pat's Diner is like, a rip of the Beverly Hills 90210 diner and a little bit of Archie Comics diner, you know what I'm saying? But Ethan Phillips, my God, that's Neelix from Star Trek Voyager. Oh my God, dude. And Brendan Miller, I remember him from Not Another Teen Movie. So that's funny. He's like in this, you know what I'm saying? And he was actually pretty funny in his part. But like, like I said before, it just wasn't that funny like the show and stuff. Because there's even like some sexual assault jokes that just did not age well now when you like rewatch this. And you know, you always gotta remember what was funny back then isn't always funny now. Like I get what they was trying to go for, and it is awkward and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But hearing that now is just like, no, man, no. Like, no, man. One thing that has not aged well at all is that of Andy Dick playing a middle-aged man who is still a high school student. Because Andy Dick has got beyond Me Too and everything. So the show mostly follows that of a guy named Brian. His brother, his brother, the blonde-headed dude, he wants to be like a bad boy, you know what I'm saying? So they're trying to break into this car, but Brian doesn't want to. And so when they start hearing the cops come, what's his name start the engine and the car literally explodes, killing his brother and stuff. So Brian is now going to school and has to go to the foster system. As he's in like jail or whatever, because he tried to like steal a car. And well, he didn't try, but his brother did. He's there with like his lawyer, and the lawyer is just like an idiot. And the lawyer is all like, since you have no other living relatives, you can come stay with me. I always bring boys to my house, which is supposed to be an assault type joke. And so when he does, he meets that of his wife. His wife is just like frantic because the last person he brought over was, I guess, like in a gang or something like that. So she's over here pulling knives and stuff like that, right? But then there is his son. Now his son is based on Dawson's Creek, and his friend is trying to do, the girl, she's kind of like the ducky to his Molly Ringwald and everything, right? So she's constantly trying to get with him. He's not interested because he's secretly gay. And he has an obsession with that of Hugh Jackman when Hugh Jackman was Wolverine. And so, like, he draws Hugh Jackman. He's always talking about how great his hair looks. He dresses up like him for like a party and everything. It's not even a Halloween party. And like, so he's constantly hitting on Brian. And his name is Lawson. And so Lawson even tells him, hey, look, man, you can have the top bunk to the bed. And Brian's just kind of like, there is no bunk bed. It's a single bed, implying that he wants him to lay on top of him and stuff like that. Kind of like, so he's like so instead of like a predatory les, he's a predatory gay dude. And that is not like cool in today's world. Like I said, man, these predatory jokes and stuff, what was funny back then just ain't funny now. And so you got Muffy and everything, who it's funny, man. Allison Brie kind of just looks like Buffy Summers, but there's a bunch of overacting in this show, and that's one of the other reasons why it just didn't stick, right? And so she is just constantly going around looking for vampires, looking for werewolves, mistaking people for vampires, accidentally shooting somebody with a crossbow. It's just, yeah. Now, the show also centers around Melissa. Melissa is the hot girl. She's kinda the manic pixie girl to that of Brian, kinda. And she has the trope of being rich and not happy. And her dad is like dating a girl that's literally the same age as her and goes to high school and stuff. Once again, this is problematic, man. This old man dating a teenager and stuff. So you have the teenage girl bossing her teenage daughter around, going to school together, and her clique doesn't get along with Melissa's clique and stuff. they do kind of like the dopey, I don't care, like, hey, what's up type thing. And he likes her and she kind of likes him, but she has her boyfriend. She sees her boyfriend cheating on her, but yet she still goes with him because he has a ginormous car, making her look shallow and stupid and stuff. And, so that's not a good image he's trying to show and everything. Then all of a sudden, his brother shows up at the party completely alive and completely normal looking. And he's all like, I defend my own body and blah, 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 and stuff like that. How the heck did he survive that explosion? But then all of a sudden, he gets like shot. I guess like the police were showing up to the party and he literally gets like shot. And he dies again. And so, like I said, like he dies and comes back, and then his mom is supposedly still alive, and it's one of those things that, it could have been funny. Like it really could have been funny, but it just wasn't, and stuff like that. They tried way too hard. Things just didn't stick. Even jokes that were funny back then that are not funny today wasn't even funny to them back then and stuff. And then the acting is just kind of here, not there. Like the one girl, Rachel she was playing a girl named Spring of all things. And she is obsessed with the male's anatomy, the lower part of it. And she's whipping out toys that look like it in school and always talking about it and everything. And it makes her look like the horny, like, hot girl, like slutty girl and everything. And it's just one of those things you kind of gotta watch to experience yourself. You know what I'm saying? It, when I heard about this in an unaired pilot, because sometimes some unaired pilots are pretty good, this one just isn't. And thank God, because it probably would have ruined the careers of some of these people.
Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.